Warning, the following broadcast features thoughts, ideas, and opinions you might find offensive. If you're easily angered, insulted, hurt, provoked, outraged, or annoyed, the following may offend you. The views expressed in this show are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of YouTube or Google. So please, don't flag this video. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Does This Offend You? It is episode 5. Today we're talking about tourism and horror, Hostel, Turistas.
Someone correct us, please.
Yeah.
I know that we have a couple of people from Brazil. I've just been saying Turistas, but you know me. I don't do the talking in the world. Hey, everybody in the chat. Hey, B.
Oh, B's here. Hi, Chance.
Well, hey, I think it was Vanessa said hi before. Hey, Vanessa.
Hi. Don't forget, I did put it in the chat, but don't forget to vote on the Twitter poll.
Echo. You got echo.
I've got echo?
Yeah, I see two people saying it.
No!
Are you just fucking with us?
Just me or Emma? Or Emma too.
I can't say Turistas. That's not a word.
Sure it is.
Just say it how like it's spelled, like this. Turistas. Like, spell it out for me, man. Phonetic. You, Vicky. Okay. Yay! Off to a flying start.
The thing is though.
How?
Doing the same thing that I did last time, and it was fine.
Was it the headphones last time? Something to do with the headphones?
Yeah, and they're plugged in.
Dang it, man. It's so hard. They need to implement a better live streaming system. Hi, Dave. How you going? Long time no see. Turn off the volume from YouTube.
Guys, okay, I'm not trying to be rude, but everything is muted, okay? I'm not trying to be rude, but I've got everything muted. I'm bad at technology, but I'm not that bad. Literally everything is muted. I'm just saying. Hold on.
Michael. I'm good, David. Or Dave. I remember that time I called you David, and then you were like, who's David? And then it was awkward, and now it's happening again. Mute your inner Vicky. You guys are really helpful.
I know, seriously.
I hope you guys are all good. I know it's about 10 o'clock where you guys are, so appreciate you coming in. It is 10 a.m. here. I have not had a coffee. I decided not to go caffeine straight up this time because it gets me really antsy. And me talking like that, it's just too much. So I've just got water to start. Sorry guys, we're just fixing the echo. We're seeing if we can. If not, Vicky will live in a can for the rest of her life.
Honestly, this is honestly the most frustrating thing.
Oh, I can hear you canny now, so I wonder if that works for them. Let me know if that works for you, because if that works for you, I'm okay with that.
Oh.
You're echoey to me. But just keep it like that, because I'd rather you just be echoey to me.
Yeah. So I'm not echoey right
now.
Wait, hold on. Let me just hit save on this. Am I echoey right now? It's a delay, so it's going to take a second.
Guys, let us know. There is a delay.
Yeah.
Vicky uses Split, I'm pretty sure. XSplit. Someone's asking if you use OBS.
No, I use XSplit. If somebody has, I literally do the same thing, and last time I didn't have the problem, but now I do. And
they're saying you're still echoing. But it doesn't matter. This is what happens. Everyone's like, echo, but it doesn't matter.
I know, but it matters to me because it's
just annoying.
What is it?
I know. It's not that bad because I can hear it now too. So you must have changed something so I could hear what they could hear. Because before it was fine.
I don't know. I literally have the same
Oh,
settings.
you sound better now. You don't sound echoey to me.
I'm probably still echoey to them, though.
Yeah. But I'm all that matters. I wish that was okay.
Yeah, it's literally
Everyone's like, oh my god, you guys. Too much. You guys are too much.
Am I echoey now? It's probably still echoing. There's probably nothing I can do to make it not echo at this point. The only thing that sucks is like nothing happens until you go live, and then because I'm not echoey to her, you know. So it's like I can't fix it beforehand.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, I know. It's a pain in my ass.
Sorry guys, I'm really close. Doing my light down.
Nothing. No audio coming from my webcam.
Echo. The echo is better than if we could not hear it at all. Totally not helping, I know.
I know.
That's true though, B. That's true.
Thanks, guys. Ugh. It's so annoying.
Does your webcam have a mic? Maybe you're coming through on your mic on your webcam or something.
Yeah, turn it off. Purposefully.
I know that you've probably done all this. I don't know if I'm helping. Hi, Wicked One.
Except I went away. But now I hear me echo. I don't care if I hear me echo.
Lee's here. He said, welcome to my world. Lee, I actually have a really funny story for you. I was trying to figure this out several streams ago. And I went to this video and I was like panicking about it. And then your comment was at the top saying, thanks. I really love this advice. It was about loopback. So because you use loopback, I downloaded it. Cool story, Emma. Hi, Mother Mayhem. How you going? Most of the time, I'm actually up when I done a stream. It's 9 a.m. Well, it's 10 a.m. here now. This is why you love Google Hangouts. We like our intro. You guys missed our intro. The intro is the best. That's the only reason we're here. Play the intro, cut to black. Sorry, guys. We're just trying to fix an echo issue.
I have no idea anymore. I'm not echoing anymore. Am I echoing? Probably.
Are we echoing? Can we get some feedback there? Not some actual feedback.
Maybe I should have done this Skype update. Maybe it would have fixed this issue.
I hate Skype.
Same.
Yeah. Let us know, guys.
I know there's a delay, but literally no one's responding. Come on!
I know. Come on, guys. Just Maven. Just you, Vicky.
Fuck!
We're gonna make a horror movie. Echo. Just Maven. Sounds like you're in a can. Remember last time they were like, it sounds kind of spooky though. Maybe we can get off on that. Hey Diva Darks. Now it's really echo.
What do you mean now it's really echo?
You guys are so mean. I was trying to do a dance before it to like entertain you all from my chair. I don't know what I'm doing.
It sounds pretty damn badass though. Lindsay, I love you. I love you.
Hello,
Wait. I thought I heard me echoing. Oh, was this something happening up? Okay. I was like, I thought I heard. I didn't know if I was echoing out to you. Oh, okay.
That was me pausing. Sorry.
Wait. Can you plug in your headphones really quick? Can I just try?
Oh yeah. What if it is me? But how would that happen?
Because I think I hear myself coming in.
Oh my fucking god! What if this is the echo? Oh my god, that's the echo. The echo is me the whole fucking time.
Plot twist! It was Emma!
I did, before we started the stream, I just want you guys to know, I did ask if I should plug in headphones, and we're like, I can't understand that. Oh my god, that makes so much sense though. We're such fucking idiots.
Please tell me this worked. If it didn't, I honestly give up, and it's just, I'm just gonna have to be in the
Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. That's totally what it is, because it's, oh my god. That's why headphones are important.
Oh my God, somebody say something.
Still an echo.
Are you
Someone
kidding?
said still an echo. No. Give it a second. Give it a second, guys. Come on, it's gonna work. Less echo, but actually, better actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, fuck. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
it's just better.
I think we just keep going.
The echo, less echo. Okay. I'm gonna hope less echo is all right. I will honestly try and figure it out. I thought I had it solved, but I guess not.
Me too.
Fuck me. Am I right? So,
I was
okay.
like, oh my god, that makes sense. Okay, at least it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on, guys. I think
Okay.
that it's just otherwise it's gonna kill us.
Yeah. Just try not to think about it. When I'm sleeping later, keep me up all night. Don't worry about it. Okay. Anyways, so thank you guys for being here, echo and all. Like I said, for those of you that jumped on a little bit late, we're talking about Turistas, and Hostel, which is all about tourism and horror. So yeah, and we're gonna start with Hostel, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And for anyone who just joined too, there's a poll on Emma's Twitter to vote which movie is more offensive, so make sure you do that at some point during the stream, and we'll tell you the results at the end. Shall I introduce Hostel? Like I normally do?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure most of you guys have seen these movies. I feel like they're both pretty popular, but if you haven't, Hostel is written and directed by Eli Roth, came out in 2005, and it stars Jay Hernandez and Derek Richardson, and they are backpackers who are traveling to a city in Slovakia after they hear from a local, they're in Germany or something like that.
Dodge. It was in Amsterdam.
Okay, Amsterdam. I'm sorry. Yeah, they hear from a very dodgy character that the women in Slovakia love foreign men, especially Americans, and they're incredibly hot. So, of course, naturally, they head right over to Slovakia. But soon after they arrive, they discover the hostel that they're staying at is a front for a sadistic group of people who torture and kill foreigners for monies.
Love it. Well, I guess they can do whatever they want to them, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Should we jump in with the controversies so we can kind of play off that, I guess? Because there's a lot.
Yeah. Do you want to start? Or shall I? Me?
Well, we've got the controversies. Should we start off with? Let's start off with why they're controversial. Did you want to start with what you had noted?
Yeah, absolutely. These two movies are really interesting because they're not just controversial in the sense that some people were mad and talked about it on the internet. They're controversial in that people were mad and governments got involved because they were so offended. So particularly for this movie, Slovakia and the Czech Republic protested the portrayal of their country because, in the movie it seems like it's very underdeveloped and poor and like literally everybody's a criminal. Like you have the kids running around that are, just as bad as the adults.
Which is so true.
It really is.
Happens in every country. Like, anyway.
But they were afraid naturally that people were going to think that's how the country really was, and so they were pissed. And they even went as far as to fly Eli Roth out to the country, offered like an all expenses paid trip to see, like, look, our country is not that bad as you put in your movie. And I have
a 5-star hotel,
like the best of the best, just to show all of this. I have a quote from Roth in response to all of this, which I really liked. He said, Americans don't even know that this country exists. My film is not a geographical work, but aims to show Americans' ignorance of the world around them. Like, so to show Americans are super ignorant and don't know anything about like any countries, which I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with that at all. But I thought that was interesting. I don't actually know if he went on the trip though, which I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know about that fact. I think that's really funny. But of course, tourism, why wouldn't you offer that? I would probably offer that to any director who does any film in a country if I was on the tourism board. Like, that's such good publicity. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I liked, I mean, this is your note, but I liked the fact that you were saying how it was interesting that the tourism board were worried about the corruption and crime, but not, the murder. The murder in the film, which is quite funny.
I think it'll tie into when we talk about Turistas, that I just think that they probably figured that people would know that part was all movie stuff, or at least that's just what I'm guessing. But I did think that was funny that they don't care, like, they didn't have any problem with, like, foreigners being murdered. It was more like, we don't want to be seen as underdeveloped and full of crime.
No, that's awful.
Yeah, it is.
We have some people in the comments asking about staying in hostels. I've stayed in hostels all over the world. I stayed in a hostel in Egypt. That is fucked up. And those kids are like that. Like, no joke. I was pelted by kids, like, with, it's such a long story. But kids are like this. Like, I don't want people to assume that this is just like a fear-mongering thing. It's true though, but it's not. It's putting yourself in certain situations, and my whole take on the film, my take on Americans. Here we go. My take on the film is kind of like, the guys are idiots, like fucking idiots, and they walk straight into so many tourist traps. And the fact that they are warned over and over and over again, kind of by like little things that keep happening, I just don't understand how you can be so trusting in a foreign country. Like, you should just be aware of your surroundings all the time, and especially anyone you talk to. In saying that, I'm not saying that Americans are dumb, because this has happened. My friend, well, I wouldn't call him a friend, acquaintance, my boyfriend's friend, he travels all over the world. He's been to something like 100 countries, and like he travels all the time, and he was kidnapped in Vietnam. And I've been to Vietnam, and I haven't had an issue.
Oh my God.
But it's just one of those things. He was like literally held. He was taken back to someone's house because they were like a local and they were going to like play poker or whatever. And then he was taken to like an ATM and told to like get out all of his cash. So shit like this does happen all the time. It really does. But it shouldn't be something you're fearful of, because it's also, crime happens where you are. Any city everyone here is from, shit is happening. But you don't go to those parts of town, and you know better because you're not a tourist. So I think that the thing that I find really funny about this movie is, at the start, the guys aren't very likable. They go through, I mean, the main guy who's kind of like lost his girlfriend recently, like the hotter one, I would say. He, like, you're not sure if he wants to have sex with a prostitute, like, you're not really sure what's going on with him, but they both make some really, like, they make some homophobic comments, and then they're also just like, yeah, pussy bitch, yeah, let's go. And they're just not likable. So I feel like in a way, they kind of, when they walk into the situation, you're not really mad. You're like, yeah, you fucking deserve this. I'm like, you kind of deserve this. But then when you see how bad it is, that's when you're like, holy shit, maybe not. Which is definitely like some initial thoughts I had about the film. Did you want to go into some points before I can drag this out?
I do want to point out, though, I think it helps that they also take the two Asian girls, whose name, the one with the eye, her name is escaping me right now.
The one with the eye.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The two Japanese girls.
Yeah, and that kind of helps because they're tourists, but they aren't American. And obviously, obviously we didn't follow them through their trip. For all we know, they could have been being asshats all over Europe too. But like, they're kind of like the foil to the Americans. Like, they're just innocent. They're just, they just happen to go to this hostel and they don't know any better either. So I think that kind of helps to make you feel sorry a little bit for them, even though they are definitely assholes.
Yeah, I think an important part on that as well, talking about, Americans, is the fact that the Americans were kind of, in some of these movies, they're like perceived as like the heroes, like the American comes in and, all this awful stuff by the foreigners is done to the Americans. But I think that's really clever in this movie is, what's his name? the guy who's in Suits, he's one of the villains as well. He actually, I've written his name down somewhere. He actually appears towards the end part of the movie. Well, I guess, halfway through, where the American's trying to escape, and then he runs into that thing and he sees another guy who's like a contender or a client of the establishment. He's American, and he's talking about if he should shoot someone in the head and make it fast or what he should do. And I think that was quite needed. So it's not such like a American hero, like come in and, it wasn't like, Americans versus the foreigners. So I think that was a good balance. And it was almost a little bit jarring as well, because that guy was thinking, man, everyone's just fucked us over here. And then he runs into one of his own, which was pretty insane.
And you can see it on his face, too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of very taken aback, like, wait a second. Like,
yeah.
You're supposed to be on our side.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And I think he even mentions it, too. He mentions, like, the Americans get a higher price too, or something like that, or he asks them like, who
the prime meat. Americans are shown as like the most expensive people to torture, and is this because they're desired more, because they're like, I think it was weird that they were put so far ahead on the on that list, because I think, like, I can't remember, but it was like in like 50K like increments from what I remember, but I just thought that was funny. It was like, were they more desired or were they more hated? Like,
I think it's that one. I mean, just based on the Eli Roth's quote, like if that's what he was setting out to show in the movie, then it's no wonder that they're the most expensive, like, because he's showing how ignorant Americans are. So I'm sure there are a lot of countries in the world, I mean, probably at this point with, not going to get too much into politics, but right now probably most of the world hates America. So it's not, at least like from my standpoint, it's not, I'm like, it's probably because we're hated the most. Like,
yeah, it's kind of sad though.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, I do want to bring up some of the background, I guess, or some evidence, some fact points to go with why I think that the guys were so kind of hated at this. You're not meant to really like them. Because I did write down a couple of quotes from the film. We can't fuck a girl in the coma after the Icelandic guy like puts down that girl who's like out of her head. Also, lots of bro jokes, but in Amsterdam they see a woman in I guess the red light district in the window. And one of them says, is bestiality legal? Because this girl's a hog. And I was like, fuck, man, like, it's just too much. And why do they put that in there? Like, is it to make it a relationship, a bro-y relationship between them, to show friendship? But it just seems such a weird choice. So I think that to show that they were just had their guards down and they had no perception about the outside world and how to interact with it, definitely showed that,
Like, they were just way too comfortable, and it perpetuated that they were assholes. Because, and it sets it up very well that they're going to go to a completely different country that it seems like they didn't plan on going to before, just because of the women that love American men so much. I love that. I love that part so much, where he's like mentioning that, like, he's just like a salesman, just like pitching it to them. Like, I love it.
Yeah, totally.
It's so fucked.
What I found the most interesting rewatching this film, because it's, I don't know how long it's been since I watched this film. When people say the word, or I guess the subgenre torture porn, the first thing I think of is Hostel, like the first thing. But watching this, not as much torture as I remember. Like, literally, you think of like the Achilles, what is Achilles tendon? That section when they cuts the ankle, but you don't. Other than that, and a couple of fingers. The lead up to it is such a huge part of the movie, and I just in my head remembered it just them being there, but it's a huge lead up and it's a huge escape, and really the torture sequences are very short, and it's only because he keeps coming back, like when he hears that girl scream and he comes back to save her. It's really not a huge part of the film, and I think that that's really interesting that the film is more of a torture porn kind of subgenre, because I would see it I mean, it's definitely gory, but it has such a long story, and the storytelling to it is so elaborate to get it to that point, which I think is obviously effective, because otherwise it would just be like all fear, you know, that it's straight up like that. I just thought it was really interesting, because I think that we should really put in something that says this percentage of torture has to be shown in a horror movie for it to be a torture porn movie, because I would not call this movie torture porn at all. Like I mean, it's torture in it. It's got some gruesome stuff, but I've seen a lot of, you know, gruesome scenes in horror movies all the time. Of course it is actual torture in this one, but you know, who's to say that someone's, you know, a slasher, someone hacking up a body, that's not torture. I just thought that was interesting.
It is, and I feel like when I saw that you had wrote that in your notes, I was like, it kind of made me think. I was like, you know what? They're really like, it is so small. And I think when I first saw this movie, I think it was so jarring, and maybe it was like that for everybody else, and that's why it kind of gets like put on this pedestal of like torture porn. Like, it was so jarring, and at that point in my movie watching, you know, life, I hadn't seen anything that bad, I guess, like legitimate torture like that. So that whole sequence sticks out in my mind as kind of like the whole movie. And I kind of forget about everything else that happens around that until I rewatched it again. And then I was like, oh. Well, this wasn't that bad this time.
But are we desensitized, or is it, you know what I mean?
That's true. It's hard to tell, but I mean, if you do pay attention like to like the time, it really is just a tiniest fraction of that whole movie. But I guess that's what sequels are for, because you don't need as much of a setup, I'm sure.
Yeah, that is true. That's definitely true.
And then you can just keep going. I've not actually seen the sequel to this one, though. Hostel.
You haven't? I've definitely seen this. Is there a third? I've seen the second, I'm pretty sure. We should know this.
Yeah, I know.
Me Googling quickly before the comments come in. 3.
And I'm waiting to see if anybody says if there's a third.
Still 3. The comment's going to...
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there is a part 3.
Don't waste
2011.
Your time, part 3.
Okay, there you go. There is a 3. I've definitely not seen 3. I've seen 2. But as I said before, probably not for like 10 years.
Everyone's saying it sucks. The third one, so don't bother. Okay,
it makes me want to watch it more when I see comments like that, and then I watch it and I'm like, dang, they were right.
Should have listened.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a third one either.
Yeah. Did we hit on all of your points? I think we went through that fast than I thought we were going to. We were like dying to talk about it.
I
know. For me, I find like this film might be more offensive, not to the tourism of the countries, but more to Americans themselves. Do you get offended by this? Like, what do you feel like?
That's interesting, because I don't feel offended in that way at all. Like, I agree. I'm like, yeah. We're stupid. Those guys are stupid.
So weird. Because for me, I'm not like a huge like patriotism here in Australia is also seen as a bad thing. Where I know in America, it's not really seen as a bad thing in America as much. But because of our history is very dark, and it is it's very often seen as like a bad thing. So I'm not a huge, I'm not like, I love Australia, don't get me wrong. I'm so glad I'm here. But if they made a movie like this and it involved us and it was us being stupid, I'd probably be offended. I'd be like, we don't like that. But it's maybe because we don't have as much representation as you guys do. So, you know, you have movies where, you know, Americans are always like the heroes and stuff. So you have that divide where we don't really have that. Like, I don't know. It's just interesting.
That's interesting, because I just don't get offended at all by that point. No, I mean, the only thing that probably gets offended is like my stomach. Like mostly just the pus. Just the pus.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for that eye scene. It's the worst, isn't it?
Oh my god.
And I mean, guys, we're doing spoilers here, obviously, but the fact that she, after all the shit that he did for her, she just jumps in front of a train. I mean, she kind of sacrificed herself to save him at the same time. Yeah. But I don't know if that was her full intention. You know, she like saw herself and it was like a second thing.
I mean, I'm probably reading way too into it, but if it has anything to do with like, you know, Asian culture and like standards of beauty. That's how I always imagine it. Like, you know, their standards of beauty are insane. Like, I mean, for women everywhere, it's insane, but theirs are tend to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, if it was anyone else, like any other nationality, I would still like kind of buy it, to be honest. Yeah. You see an eyeball hanging out the side of your face, like, you don't think you're thinking that straight, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And after everything you've been through. One thing I do want to touch on really quickly, and I hate to bring this up because this is obviously, for once we've gotten away from this topic, but I'm going to bring it back there. There is no rape scene in, you fucking have to bring it back. There is no rape scene in Hostel, which I applaud. But also bizarre because you just don't know, like, you kind of want to know what's going on between, as I said before, we don't know if this is just a torture place. Like, it's a torture place, but torture can be done in so many different ways. I guess they do refer to that when he's having that conversation with Rick Hoffman where he's saying, how are you going to do it? So it means, like, they're definitely there to kill people. But if you're going to hire someone to do whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. And I just think that was interesting. That could have taken it to a whole new level. They've talked about, I mean, the film is very sexual. It has a lot of nudity in it. They have a sex scene as well where they're both like on bed, like fucking high-fiving while they're like having sex with two European women at the same time. It's so fucking weird. And there's a lot of that. So I thought that was an interesting thing that they did.
You wonder if it would play differently if one of like the kind of trio of guys was a female. If there's like a female character, if that would be a part of the movie then.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just because there wasn't a main female character. We don't see that.
Yeah. And one thing more before we move on Hostel. I really want to talk about is one of my favorite scenes in a horror movie is actually in Hostel. I love this scene. It is the best like foreshadowing scene in any like modern horror movie, I think. When they're in the train and the guy is eating the salad with his hands. How fucking cool is that scene? I hadn't seen this movie for ages, and I knew that scene word by word for some reason. I was like, because he says like, you know, you're right there, Chief, and I was like, oh my god, how do I know all of this? Because it's like imprinted in my mind. Because literally he's saying that he likes to be hands-on with his food. He's like hands-on with his prey. He's gonna fucking kill you, so like. I just love it. It's one of the creepiest, best scenes. I don't really know where they were going with the, you know, the hand on the leg bit. Like I felt like that kind of ruined it, but it was so great. I love that scene. Sorry, I just had to add that.
I remember you talking about it. Yeah, you loved it so much. I'm like, yeah. It grosses me out.
So good.
I just don't like anyone eating.
You don't like what?
The sound of people eating. I was smacking on. I'm like, I don't have the stomach for these movies.
So does Hostel offend you?
Nah.
I love it. I think it's such a clever movie. And it was so good for its time. It worked really well with the flip cell phones, and not being able to access people, you know, internet and all that kind of stuff.
It makes me wonder, like, I mean, as much as I feel like the general consensus is we hate horror remakes or we're very apprehensive about them, I would be interested to see, because you'd have to change a lot. I feel like if you were to remake it now with the way cell phones are. Like, half of the stuff you wouldn't, like, there would be plot holes for, unless they get their phone stolen or something like that. But
yeah, and it was interesting to see. It seems so obvious, the conversation between them on the mobile phone when he's just like, we left, and it's like their dead heads, like with a thing in the background.
It's so unconvincing. Like they legitimately look dead. Not like who I mean, I guess it was just the poor quality of the phone. I don't know. They had like the crystal clear iPhone 10 or whatever the fuck one they are on now. Like, definitely be able to tell. So do you guys in the chat have anything to add before we move on to Turistas? Anything you'd like to add about the movie?
Oh, there you go. I go home.
I go home.
I'd rather see a prequel, how it all started. That is a great idea. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Like all about the ring. That'd be interesting, for sure. I'm with that. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. It was interesting, the whole tattoo situation on it too, because like I don't even think it needed to be in there, but it was in there, so it would have been good to build off that. So, Hostel was an effective, brutal horror. Would agree. Did you guys see it? What's the alternative ending? No, I did not see. Did you see that? B saying.
I'm sure it's on the, I'm sure it's on the DVD that I have. I guess I'll have to. Oh, Lindsay says I think a reboot would be welcome. I think I would actually kind of be interested in seeing it done in like 20, in today with today's technology and stuff. I would be interested. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like they could just play that out so quickly though. Like just say they have no internet, because when you travel overseas, you don't have internet anyway.
That's true.
So like on your phone, unless you have like a international SIM card, or you want to rack up your data on your phone.
Yeah.
So I think that they could play that off. I'd like to see it done in maybe in a different place or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I want something different. It needs to have a little bit more. I think prequel would be.
I think they would lose their shit if they did the same country again. Can you imagine? They were already mad about this one. Like, that's it.
They could do it in Australia. I mean, we already have that, right? Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
We could do it here. For sure.
Samuel, aka Wicked One, says he got that tattoo.
Oh my god, I need a picture. That's so creepy. Raiders, I thought you were watching football or whatever the fuck sport is. I was watching.
Lindsay says Canadian Hostel.
Anyone offended by the spoilers of the alternative ending? Did we say what it was?
Oh, B said it. She said Salad Guy lives. Bad ending.
Dang. I mean, I love Salad Guy, so he's fine. Salad Fingers. Oh my god, he's literally Salad Fingers. That's so cool. I didn't even think of that. He is Salad Fingers.
The crossover.
We'll pay to kill you and apologize after. I love those bubblegum kids. It's so true though. Like there are kids like that. Yeah. But anyway, I can't speak. I haven't been to that place. Sorry.
I'm ignorant and I haven't been anywhere, so I can't speak on any of this when it comes to that.
Well, you love that I'm going to like 4 countries this month, at the end of this month, that I haven't been to. So, luckily, I'm going to like low crime Scandinavia and not like Eastern Europe. No offense, Eastern Europeans in the chat.
Oh, does he?
Whoa, okay, what's going on in Tournament? Oh, okay.
Jay Hernandez character kidnaps and tortures the daughter. Whoa.
Jeez.
Oh, I think I saw that. I think I saw that on IMDb or something. It was like, in the trivia, it's like in an alternate ending or something like that, instead of going for the daughter. Gotcha. Interesting.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
It's on YouTube, they said. I mean, you have the DVD, so it's fine.
Yeah. I don't want to show it here because I'll get copyright.
Shall we move on to Turistas?
Yeah. I'm just gonna call it Turistas, I guess. That seems like the American way to say it.
Oh, it's the Aussie way as well.
Turistas. Okay, so Turistas, for those of you that don't know, came out about the same time. It came out in 2006 and is directed by John Stockwell. And stars Josh Duhamel. Is that how you say his name? I've never known. Melissa George and Olivia Wilde, and it follows.
Melissa George is Australian.
And she plays an Australian in the movie. We've come full circle.
She's the only smart one as well. Anyway.
Jeez, brag much. All all right, listen. But anyways, the movie is about all of them and a bunch of backpackers who, after a bus accident, find themselves stranded in a remote and rural part of Brazil, where foreigners, they find out, are targeted in an organ harvesting ring. A different kind of underground ring here this time.
Thank you, Horror Cash.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
That's so nice. Yes, this movie. I actually really liked this movie. It was unexpected for me. I did actually a review on it not too long ago. And I don't know, like I hadn't heard of it before, and I don't think it's that poorly done.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of people saying that they don't really like it. But it's a lot to take in, and it's an action-packed film. Like, it's very, from start to end, you're kind of trying to keep up with the characters, and it is more of an action than horror. Although the torture part, which is interesting again, the torture part is pretty fucking insane, and I know that you had an issue with this. I would say is probably a lot gorier than Hostel, and there's some real injuries in there, like when he hits his head, that kid hits his head, and then he's they have to like staple that's disgusting and very realistic. And this film for me, I think, takes more of a realistic approach on tourism. I'm not saying that everything that happens in there is realistic. Things do happen in Brazil, like definitely. But the way that they're kind of lured to the situation, them all on a bus, and then it all seemed a little bit more clicking in place than, them going, oh my God, there's like a hot backpackers in this town, let's go. And I liked the mix of, obviously, different nationalities. They had the Swedish people. They had, except the British people was so, like, stereotypical. Like, the two British men. Like, it's like they walked out of, like, Lord of the Rings or something. They were, like Hobbit guys. Like, they were so stereotypical, like, English. And they were like, oh, where's the pint, And then the Australian who actually knew how to speak Portuguese. And then the Americans, who were like the two hotties, and I guess three hotties. There's three of them, right? There was the brother and two girls, and I guess they were kind of trying to learn the customs as they went along, which I thought was funny.
Olivia Wilde's character wasn't that bad. She was like legitimately trying. She wasn't as bad. She could have been worse. Definitely.
Yeah. No, I thought they were great. I thought all of the characters, I really did buy them, to be honest.
Yeah, they were very realistic. But in terms of controversy for this one also had like the country upset over the movie. Again, this one, the film was actually boycotted by citizens in Brazil, like some citizens in Brazil that thought the film obviously portrayed a negative image of the country, although I don't have the official name written down. It's like the Brazilian, it's like their like tourism agency, like branch of the government. They actually came out saying that they didn't feel like the film was going to hurt Brazil's image. Like they had faith that the audiences would be able to differentiate, reality from fiction. Which considering the nature of the movie, like that's pretty like noble of them to be like, I feel like audiences are going to get that this, this doesn't actually happen in this specific way. So I commend them for that. Although the actors did apologize on various talk shows for the movie. And then I have another quote from the director responding to this from John Stockwell. He said in an interview, I feel a little badly that the Brazilians, mostly who haven't seen the movie, maybe they've seen the trailer, have been very upset about what they perceive the film's depiction of Brazil to be. I'm like, did you see City of God? That wasn't the most flattering of portrayals either. I think I think they get very defensive when an American production company comes in and makes anything other than a Chamber of Commerce portrayal of the country. That's kind of like a damn. But I agree. It does. There's bad parts of every country, like you said. I kind of wrote in my notes, like as an example, like you can make a horror movie set in Detroit, which is a city in the U.S. that's pretty well known for its crime. Like, obviously, not everybody that lives there is a criminal and a murderer, but it's not, but people would get upset either way if you went and made a horror movie all about that. They'd be like, well, not everyone here is a criminal, blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's the same thing. Like there are some problems with crime in Brazil, so it's not completely it's not totally out of thin air. So I tend to agree with the director on this one.
For me though, I'm like, Brazil's actually been one of the places I've been most scared to travel to, just because I have heard so many bad stories. And my friend, he is Brazilian, and he was shot and like carjacked and shot. He has like a bullet wound. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I've never met anyone who's like been like full shot. Like people in Australia don't get shot. Like, it's not a thing here. Sorry guys. And I've watched a lot of like documentaries and even like Vice documentaries and stuff, whether that it's set in Brazil and aren't entirely around that. But I see, oh, thank you, Diva Dogs.
Diva Dogs.
Bye, Diva Dogs. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, you're the sweetest. Have a good night.
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of things about how you just turn into the wrong area and it can be a bad thing. I assume there's a lot of like tourist trap situations there. Just like in Paris is one of the worst places for tourist trap situations. People like just trying little scams on you. And Brazil I've heard is really bad too. And I actually have been scared to go there, though we had an offer to go with our friend who's Brazilian to go stay with his family if we went there, which is what I would do, because I'm actually like, and when I hear about things like that, it's just insane. Yeah, I don't know, like Brazil sounds really, I know a lot of people have been and I'm sure it's fine, but it's just I was scared about Brazil before this movie, so it actually did impact me a little bit, to be honest. Not really more about organ trafficking and stuff like that. It was more about, I guess, just people being dodgy and ripping you off or being caught in a situation. Not really like the same kind of thing. So it did play on my fears, I have to be completely honest, a little bit. But I would not be on that bus. Like, it looks so sweaty and scary.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was with Josh Duhamel on that one, like yelling at the bus driver.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. I'm not doing that again. Something I found that was really interesting about the whole setup for the film is the guy who's like the lead, like surgeon or whatever, and he's like the doctor who is, trying to bait these guys to use their organs, is actually using them for good. Like, he's trying to help people in his country, which I thought was so interesting, because it was kind of like they come into your country and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to use them to help my country. And I thought that was such an interesting twist on it, because they didn't have to do that. They could have just kept him as the baddie. And as we said before, having the Americans being the heroes, at least this one, they didn't have just all Americans. And they also had the Brazilian boy who like helps him along the way. Rico, is that his name? Rico or something like that?
Something
like
it's
that.
not quite that, but
and you can see he's kind of like twisted, and he's like, oh, Americans aren't that bad. And that was like a nice moment. And I felt like, as much as there was some really scary moments in there, like, the story had so many elements that it didn't seem realistic, in the sense that, as you said before, that situation that way would actually come to fruition. But I do think that it was a lot more realistic than Hostel at the same time.
It is. Like, I mean, just the premise, just because he's kind of doing it for good, but it's more logical. Like, I'm more inclined to believe, like, if I heard two separate news stories, one about this like murder ring in Slovakia where they're like kidnapping people to torture them, and one about this guy in Brazil who is like harvesting foreigners' organs to give to the poor. I would believe that way more. Like, if I saw them both on the same news site, I would believe that one way more than the other one. And I think that's what makes it, scarier, because it is kind of it's just the logic from like A to B is much more sound. Like, you believe that could actually happen anywhere, not just Brazil, but
and it's almost like they weren't really scammed from the start. They were just like lured into a I mean, from the bus thing, that kind of like sets it all off. It's not like they were traveling and then they went to some weird place on their own kind of choice. Sure, they went to that bar and everything was kind of a little bit off, but I just felt like it was just like a whole heap of like bad choices. And then even when they're in that town and they follow that guy up into that house, like they shouldn't have done that. Yeah, they shouldn't have fucking done that.
Gosh,
yeah. There was so many things at play, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It was all just kind of like a scary accident because like obviously they didn't plan the bus tipping over or whatever. So it was more just like, and then you see the girl call or the big boss man or whatever, the surgeon dude, after they arrive, and that's when they kind of plan like, okay, since they've already walked into our trap a little bit, now we're gonna get them. So had the bus not crashed or they didn't decide to go hang out at the bar while waiting for the next bus, they would have been okay. But I guess it's kind of like a little bit of being too trusting, though, too, of your surroundings, kind of like the guys in Hostel.
Yeah, it's too good to be true.
Yeah. Although it looked way less sketchy than Hostel.
No, totally. I mean, everyone was being overly nice. And that's sometimes it's a bit sketch.
That's true. It's like you can't trust anyone. If they're being sketchy, don't trust them. If they're being too nice, don't trust them.
So what was your take on the gore in this one? Because I know you had some issues with that.
I don't know. It's something when it's a medical procedure. Like I can't watch like some people find that stuff fascinating, like watching surgeries and stuff like that. Like it literally immediately triggers my gag reflex. It's like something about like because they show, and I don't know like the one that I watched was unrated, and I don't know how different it is from the not rated unrated version. But there's a shot where they show like literally you know like her stomach open and you see all of her organs packed in there, you know like how it is in your body, and it just triggered my gag reflex. The fact that she's like technically awake. She's not like conscious or whatever when it's happening, but she's technically alive as it's happening. And just seeing like I don't know. There's something about seeing your organs like all. I know that's how they look in my body, but I just try to. I don't think of myself that way. I just think that I'm like empty inside because I feel like I'd be sick all the time. Dina says why I stick to old school horror.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. For me, when I watch like gore scenes like that, in this one, it's a little bit more. I don't know. I guess Hostel was the same, where it's like that grungy kind of feel to it. It's not so clinical, which is like guess it makes it worse, and like you feel like it's all it's not being done in a clinical environment, which is very scary. Yeah. No, totally. But I guess with gore and this kind of stuff in horror movies, I always just think, like, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
But it's that medical aspect to it. It's like people do surgeries. That stuff's real. That's how my organs look if somebody were to cut me open. But I don't know. It just feels like I feel much more removed from something like Hostel than Turistas, where I felt like that could happen. Just and it just triggers my, like, I literally had my face up to a pillow and I was just, like, dry heaving. I was like, can this scene be over? I was so glad it was so short.
That was so funny. I do want to address what Vanessa has said, because I believe Vanessa is from Brazil. She said she's getting offended by your comments, which I assume are my comments. Brazil is a big country. What you heard about here usually speaks of the state in Rio de Janeiro. Sorry, I'm like...
I'm trying to see where she...
I live in the south of Brazil, so it's so different here. My friend, I believe, is from the south, but I think that you could be right. It was done in the capital. So isn't the capital something different, and everyone thinks it's Rio? I feel like I'm getting that wrong. Or there's two Rios or something like that. But Vanessa, I really don't mean to offend you. I'm just saying from my I'm being completely honest, and take it, my honesty is ignorance as well. This is what I'm saying is the fact that I was scared by these things means that it's the fear, and it's the fear of tourism, that, people just feed you certain messages about certain places. And this is exactly what we were saying before and at the start, that wherever you go, there's sketch everywhere. And it might be as well in Australia, we don't have guns. So like that scares me. My friend was shot. So, and he's from Brazil as well, so he wasn't a tourist.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I get where you're coming from, but please like understand that what I'm saying is like just my experience, and it's and I hope everyone else gets this in the comments too, or in the chat, that it's by no means it means it's real. It's just my taking that this actually does play into my fears from things I've heard, which is a fault of all of us, and that's what we're saying about. And I've seen a lot of people say that they've been scared to go to Eastern European countries because of Hostel, which I wouldn't be scared to go there, but just because I've heard a lot of stuff about Brazil in particular, and that doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't. It totally doesn't. And there's bad places everywhere. There totally is. Here we don't have guns, so like that really scares me. Which parts of America really scare me too. But unfortunately, this movie does play into, and that's what I was saying. Like the
thank you, Nightmare Files. My nightmare brother.
Killing it. The fact that it's talking about organ trafficking and, you know, the black market with organs, that's not what scares me. Like, I don't actually feel like if I went there that's what happened to me, and if that's what would happen to me, I actually would be okay with that more than like a slow like torture or something that I had to live through, to be honest. I hope that makes sense to you. I'm not trying to say that all of Brazil's like that, because I don't know that. I've never been to Brazil. And I've heard wonderful things. I hope that makes sense.
And it kind of speaks to the message of both of the movies that, you know, tourists do tend to be ignorant of things like that and don't understand certain things, and that gets them into trouble, whether it be something hyperbolic in a movie like, you know, being tortured, or just something like this, like, you know, having a potential misunderstanding maybe with somebody in the country when you're there traveling or something like that.
Yeah, and that's why we need you as well, Vanessa, because we need you to tell us these things. And that's at the start, that's what we said. Does anyone know how to actually pronounce? Like, we're so ignorant to this shit. So that's why we need, and that's why it's so interesting to get different perspectives. And that's what I really like, that Vicky and I are both from different countries, so we have different perspectives on these kind of things, which is so interesting, I think. Sorry, I'll just stop on that point. I just hope that made sense. That it was just my perspective. I'm not actually saying like Brazil is an awful place. I'm saying that's how I perceived it from things. But I know that it is a lot of fear. Which is the issue about the controversy around the movie. It does create fear.
100%.
Carry on.
And I mean, I guess just to go off of that and move slightly away from that, it does play into a fear of traveling anywhere, and you said it a little bit too. Like, whenever you go anywhere, there's like that fear of something bad happening, because you're out of your comfort zone, especially if you're somewhere like Brazil or even you know in Eastern Europe or wherever where they don't speak your language, so you have like there's like so many things that are out of your comfort zone and that you can misunderstand because of something as simple as a language barrier. So it's a fear whenever you travel anywhere and you're not near your home and you're not near things that are familiar to you. So that's like a natural fear that both of these movies play on in any tourism movie plays off of. Greek and other ones included.
That was the note that I put down before we started this, was that both of these films have in common is the fact that tourists somehow land themselves into traps by listening and trusting others. But they are victims, but it's also a word of caution to travelers, which I worry too much about saying that, you know, like, these people deserved it, even though I did say that about Hostel. But I worry too much calling, because they are victims in the situation, you know what I mean? And what is done to them is completely illegal in both of them. And, you know, it's kind of that thing, like, are you meant to say, like, the victim deserved it for this type of, you know, issue in a horror movie? It's quite interesting doing, like, the whole victim blaming thing. I think it's weird how many horror movies kind of play into that. like, you know, stupid woman ran up the stairs when the when the like guy with the knife came in. Was it her fault though? Like, I just thought that was an interesting take on that. And a lot of people don't even think about the whole victim blaming thing mentality we have in horror movies. Like, you know, don't have sex, don't drink.
Well, it's so natural when you're watching a horror movie too, when you see somebody doing something that you perceive as stupid or something, like when the guys in Hostel take that advice, you're like, what are you doing? Don't, like, he's totally sketchy. Why are you doing that? Like, and that's kind of like a light form, I guess, of victim blaming as well. Like, we're already bashing the potential victims in the movie for making a dumb decision. Or like in Turistas, when they're, you know, drinking so much and getting wild and crazy when they're supposed to be working on getting to their destination. And you're just like, why are you doing this? You're so stupid. Like,
yeah. The more I think about it, like the innocence, you know how, you know, obviously the rule about you can't have sex, you've got to be like the virgin to get out alive. The Olivia Wilde's like friend, I forget her name, she was the one who was like making out with that dude, and then she was like the one who died. I was like, wait a minute.
But we don't know the other ones that they've I guess not in the movie sense they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything like that. But
well, Ryan, then you're gonna survive, and we're all gonna die. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Alrighty then.
Cool. Did you list off everything that you had in your notes?
I guess I can point out. We did talk about this. I thought it was an interesting point when they're kind of setting up the. I guess like the language and the cultural barrier in the movie. It's like right at the beginning of the movie after the bus crashes. Olivia Wilde's character is a photographer or something, or she likes to take pictures. So she you know, starts to take pictures of this child, and then the parent freaks out, and then they learn that I think it's Melissa George's character or something, or she translates or something, that they're like tabloids going around in that part of the country or in the country or something like that are talking about how Americans are coming into the country to steal organs from children and things like that. And I thought that was an interesting. It's just like a little part, but how the ignorance and stereotypes kind of go both ways. For that, like, you know, he assumes that, you know, because they're foreigners, that, you know, they're taking a picture to, like, you know, harvest his organs later, come back and kidnap him or something like that. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen either. Like, for all I know, that could actually happen.
That's a good point. But it's just like a misunderstanding.
Yeah, like a complete misunderstanding. But then it's it's kind of like the salad fingers man scene in Hostel, where it kind of sets
like a foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing what's going to happen to them, actually.
I love that.
I love that.
Oh, cool.
That was...
and I think we've pretty much covered the other ones, hey?
Yeah, that was all my points on it.
Yeah. Although you did talk about the villain, Zamora, who hates rich Americans who come to Brazil to exploit their resources.
I don't know. I can't remember in the movie if he actually says Americans or just foreigners. And now I can't remember. But he definitely said in his whole like big villain monologue that they always do. Like, I'm gonna explain everything right now. I don't remember if he says Americans or anything, but he's definitely there's definitely like a class thing going on too, because he's talking about how a lot of the areas in Brazil, like the people are too poor to get like necessary surgeries, like an organ transplant or something like that. And then like the rich foreigners from Britain. I think he specifically mentions like America and the UK. They come in and take from them when they already don't have all this stuff, and it's very there's like a class thing going on too, like rich versus poor. Also, which I thought was interesting, because that's something that's kind of like universal. It's not so much like, you know, country to country. That's everywhere. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, totally. I think it was interesting the amount of characters they had from different places and how much that really, for both films, how much that really played on what we thought about the films. And
thank you, Antonio. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know how much like we're like, oh well, this person was Japanese and this person was like Australian and this person was American, and what are they trying to say? And you wonder at what they are actually trying to say. I did put in my notes as well that the people, I think they were from Sweden in Turistas, they like had really poor English, and like it was just such like a stereotypical kind of like they said something wrong and they were corrected around the table kind of thing. I guess again with the guys from England, they were very much stereotypical blokes from there. It's just so funny like how much the stereotypes play for everybody in there. It was cool. I thought it was interesting.
I do like it because it doesn't just play on American stereotypes. That's what I was gonna say. Enjoy that. Like
I thought as well something really interesting that Melissa George's character, she said in the film was all the places she'd been, and she was talking about that, and then someone said, oh, you haven't had any problems like traveling alone, and she said, I'd never had any problems, only one. Well, she said I've only had one problem, and that was like back home in like her small town. So I thought that was like such like a clever, interesting way to put it, because as long as you're a person who's aware of your surroundings, no matter where you go, that's very true.
It is.
Yeah.
And she's the most well-traveled character in the movie. I think they imply that she
she knows language. She's been all over. Yeah.
She's a very
cool
good character. And she survived. See?
Should we check out the poll?
Oh yeah. We'll check the poll.
If you guys have any questions or anything you want to add, please let us know down below.
Any remaining thoughts while she checks, or any questions regarding either film, I suppose. Last time I looked, I think Hostel was in the lead, but that was a couple of hours ago.
I can't find it. Poll. Okay, I'm just going to click on someone's retweet of the poll to try and see it. Okay, Hostel is at 64%, Turistas is at 36%. Which movie, for my question for you, oh wait, I guess first, Turistas, do you find it offensive?
I think there's way more to be offended about for a lot of different countries, like people from all over, like the American side, the Brazilian side, and like the Swedish couple, the British couple. I don't know if you got offended with the Australian character. You seem to really like Melissa George in this movie.
That's right.
I think there's a whole lot more to be offended about in it. So I'll say like yes with like an asterisk. Because I think it does have kind of an important message, and it does make you think and opens like a dialogue about like misunderstanding stereotypes and things like that. So there's a little caveat with that, yes. But
yeah, because you're right, it does serve an actual purpose, where Hostel is just for the lols. I do feel like it does actually have a deeper purpose, and it is about I mean, there is a lot of fear in it, that's the issue, and we've seen that, but I think that it obviously does open up a dialogue about miscommunication. Whether that was intentional or not from the film. I don't know if I would find it offensive though, personally. I can see how it can offend people, but I don't think personally it offends me. But I'd like to see what Vanessa says if the movie actually offends her. But out of Turistas and Hostel, the film that I find the most offensive would definitely be Turistas. Like, I don't find Hostel offensive whatsoever. I love Hostel.
I was really shocked when everyone was saying Hostel way more. I was like, I think the opposite.
Yeah. And I think it's just because I really do think it's because people think about the torture porn aspect of it, even though it's not that huge. It's very interesting.
Does this one get lumped in with torture porn. I don't like that. This one's not. Turistas is not really like a big one.
No, I would say it's more of an action, to be honest.
Okay,
like there's a lot going on. And it's, you know, it's one of those movies that are kind of like action drama with horror themes. Like it's not really a full on horror. Yeah, it's hard to, like, sometimes though it is really hard to bring in what is horror into a movie. I fight with it all the time. I saw Meg last night, and I've got a review coming out soon. And yeah, I mean, how much of that is horror? I guess it's like Jaws, you know, like how much of that is a horror aspect, but it's you find horrific yourself. And if you find this kind of stuff horrific, then sure. It's just funny. There's no like clear, distinct thing with horror where if it's a comedy, it's a comedy, you know? If it's thriller, like, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. The exception being slasher, I think everyone pretty much is like, yep, that's horror. That's horror. That's a horror movie.
That's very true. Vanessa said that Turistas does not offend her.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Well, there you go.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was looking forward to that when you said that she was from there. Have kind of more of an authority figure, I feel like, on Turistas. Too bad we didn't have somebody from Eastern Europe, though.
Yeah. I mean, we got Europeans.
Yeah.
We got B.
We got B. She's a little west of there, but yeah, for sure.
But yeah. I really enjoyed this chat, guys. We were just like non-stop because we had so much to kind of get out. This was such an interesting topic to talk about within horror. People don't really talk about this. Yeah, and you know, like we've done Cannibal Holocaust and Green Inferno, but they could also be seen as the same to tourism.
That's true.
Or no one really wants to go to the Amazon, or no one's like really going there for a tourist trip. I don't think they're too worried about tourism over there. They probably don't want people to go. So, yeah, there's so many movies that come into effect with the places, and a lot of Australian films are like that. Like majority of Australian films are about landscape and, you know, the outback, and they're not really, you know, they're more about not even just tourists but also people taking, you know, a long weekend and things like that. So Razorback or lots of shit like that. I think it's really interesting that using locations as a means for horror. It's pretty cool.
It's a fine line though. You could do it really wrong. I think where you could just truly be like straight up offensive and be all stereotyped. So I think both of these movies, even Hostel, even though it's a little bit more tongue in cheek, I think than Turistas. They both kind of serve, you know, they serve a purpose. It's not all bad. You know?
I think Hostel gets away with it a lot more because obviously it's an American director, and then he's American. He's not Canadian, is it? He's American, and that's a good question. And he is representing his own nationality as idiots. So I think he gets away with making them a little bit villainous on the side, like, you know, the guy who lures them in. Thank you, B. I made a huge mistake to watch a bunch of French extreme films. High Tension Fronters before a vacation to France last year. But I feel like those French films, they're made by the French, you know, and they're not
that's true.
There were problems. There is a problem with our flights, and we were forced to leave our hotel a day early. We tried to find a hotel closer to the airport to make our very early flights the next day. We found a little motel basically in the middle of nowhere, 10 minutes from the airport. It looked horrible and old, and we basically had no other choice. We spent the night, and the hotel manager lady was very nice, but when she photocopied our passports, I was convinced she would definitely auction them off to the highest bidder. I have never been so sure. I was also like to make it through, that I would not make it through the night, and something that would happen. Sorry, I'm like,
okay, I don't sleep well. Interjecting every couple of moments.
I kept my bags packed and my shoes next to the bed in case I had to flee. Needless to say, I was wronged. I wasn't killed, but it was one of the worst nights of my life. Funny enough, Dean and I were scammed completely in London when we went last time. I went to London. I've been to London by myself and I've been fine. But Dean and I were completely scammed. Like, our hotel, we got there and there was like flooding apparently, and then they were like, oh, we'll move you to our sister hotel, and their sister hotel was like shit. And turns out this happens to a lot of people, and the front that you go into, that you drop your bags and you say, I'll come back, and they say, oh, something's wrong with the plumbing, will hopefully will be fixed by the time you can check in. Apparently it's just a front, like it's not an actual hotel, it just looks like it's a hotel. So it's like a scam that they do, and then they put you into a shitty place in the middle of nowhere, and it was really bad. And yeah, it was really bad. I was like on the phone trying to fix it, and the guy was like screaming at me to get out of like the foyer because he didn't want like the other customers to hear. And and I've been like, I think I've definitely mentioned this before. I've been grabbed in Egypt. I've had shit happen to me, and I've seen like people be scammed as well, like a lot in Paris and things. But normally before you go somewhere, they warn you about these kind of things. Even in like when we went to Barcelona, Barcelona is like really well known for pickpocketing. People come and they, instead of like, and it's not just like you have to be careful about the opening your bag, you have to be careful of underneath, because people come with knives and they just like slash underneath your bag and all your contents like fall out. Yeah.
Oh
so like there's shit everywhere. But this is the thing, there's shit everywhere. Like shit happens all over the place. Pickpocketers all over the world. And you just have to be really cautious about where you go and what you do, and it's fine. Oh my God, we've been scammed so many times in Bali, like, and Australians go to Bali all the time. Yeah, Dean's phone has been stolen out of his pocket. A guy's like put his arm around his.
Oh my
he's
God!
like, oh, do you want to chat? And then like grabbed his. This happens all the time. I've been like cornered or an ATM. Like the guy trying to get the cash out. Like when I'm getting cash out, he tried to bump me, so he grabbed the cash. Shit like this. This is what I'm saying. Shit like this happens everywhere. Yeah, I think it's interesting, but it's also like you can't. I know it sounds scary as well, but you can't let it stop you from like traveling. You really can't, because you just got to be cautious and just always aware of what's around you. Like you don't go through a foreign country listening to music like with your earphones on and like.
Oh my gosh! No.
You just gotta like Anyway.
Absolutely.
Will I be staying in any hostels on my trip? No, all hotels for us. Dean's, well, it's actually Airbnbs to be honest. So who knows what happens?
Gosh. That'll be like it'll probably be long after your trip. I feel like that. I hope that kind of like manifests in like some tourism horror in the future, because Airbnb is such a big thing now. Like, I'm not. I won't like get into the details because you're gonna like go stay at one. But like all it would take is like it'd be like an open house situation where somebody's there.
Where they're like filming them in their rooms or something, and they're like, Horror Mister said that pickpockets in Rome too. Yeah, they're really bad there. I know that you went to Rome recently, but when I was in Rome, there was this guy that I was with at the time. He was standing on the train, and all of a sudden this guy had his hand down his pocket, like in my friend's pocket.
Yeah.
And literally, he just had like a chapstick in there. So like, but bizarre, like looking down and someone's hand being in your pocket and you not even realizing, like that's how good they are.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But jokes on you. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Are Australian earphones better than American?
Like he's talking about like being distracted.
I know, but he came in late. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
That hit a little too close to home, Dino. Getting me in my weak spot. Headphones. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'll fix
Well, like I think that was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. That was such a good, like pure conversational, like topic. Like with so much we could talk about. So interesting.
Yeah. It's like one we could just like go on and on. There's so much to talk about with this.
And so many movies, so many examples.
Exactly. So many different. I mean, shut up, Monty. No. Does anybody else have any lingering thoughts on either movie or questions before we sign off? Sorry about the audio. I'll fix it for next time. I don't know how because I honestly don't know what's wrong. But I will do all of the Googling, all of the tutorials. Hope this doesn't scare you into not traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about it because I don't have money for that anyway. So I don't even have the option. Any other tourism horror film that you guys like? The Ruins, the one that you just mentioned me. I love that movie.
Wolf Creek for me.
Wolf Creek.
There's heaps. There's so many though. Like, I think I see so many. I guess with foreign film, I just can. I guess it wouldn't be tourism, but you see people, going into mountains and stuff. So unless it's the actual. I'm trying to think of other examples. It's got to be like, yeah. Anyway,
there are other ones, but The Ruins is a really good one. I do actually really love that one. I like the supernatural kind of aspect to it. I like that. It's cool. I love that movie. But yeah. We said all we wanted to say on the topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of our social links are in the description, so make sure you're following us. Emma's are down there as well to stay tuned as to when the next one's going to be and what the topic is going to be in the movies and all that good stuff. Yeah. So thank you for watching. And we'll see you guys in a month-ish.
Yeah. We'll get to you.
We'll get to you.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Right. All right, bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Bye.